Hey everyone, it's Jason, and welcome to Zombicide Wulfsburg. So this is part of the fantasy series. It's listed as an expansion for Zombicide Black Plague, although it semi-works kind of with Green Horde as well. And the reason why I say semi is because all of the miniatures and the cards and the survivors and all of that stuff easily integrate into either the core, the big core set for Black Plague, or for Green Horde, which is also a fantasy, standalone set. The kind of part that gets in there are the quests for this, because although you can use the tiles and make your own stories, or if you're checking the CMON website for online missions, they might have some that work with this, with Green Horde. All the missions in here, or all the quests in here, require you to have the Black Plague tiles. So, although again, you could buy this, pick it up, and use all of the components mixed with everything else, you just wouldn't be able to play the quests. So that's the only thing that would eliminate it from being able. So if you had Green Horde, why you wouldn't be able to use this. Now, is it still worth picking up? Yeah, definitely. The big thing it does here is it's going to add 2 more tiles. So again, it's not adding a ton of extra tile gameplay, but it is adding 4 new characters, survivors to play as. A new zombie type, the Wulfz. That was at the end in Z if they're a zombie animal. A bunch more equipment card. But the big thing is also it's adding 4 more dashboards. So now it can bring your game from 6 players up to 12 players. 6, that's not right. 6 plus 4 is 10 players. So now you can play up to a 10-player game. Or alternatively, if you don't want to, at least give you 4 other different colors to play as. Yeah, so definitely cool there. Alright, so we're just going to kind of fling through this book a little bit quick, and then we can hop into all the content. So new zombies are the zombie wolves. So they're going to have new cards. Say zombie wolf invasion, which you just have them listed on there. So now they're only going to have them listed, so you're not going to have to worry about picking one up and figuring out if it's, oh, that one's for a walker, that's for this. So they kind of went that route with this. How do these guys play? So these guys are kind of terrible. So they have minimum of 1 damage to destroy, provide 1 experience. So the same as, walkers and things like that. But they have a special rule. The zombie wolves have 3 actions per game. After all zombies, including runners and zombie wolves, have gone through their activation step and resolve their first action, runners and zombie wolves go through a second step. And then in second action, to attack the survivor on the zone or move if they need to. And then zombie wolves go through a 3rd time. Yeah, so they're going to close the gap really quick, and if you don't kill them beforehand, they might end up doing 2 to 3 attacks to you very easily. So you're going to want to definitely take them out fast. Now, I want to flip over to this to look at our targeting priorities. So again, melee combat, perfectly fine. Do whatever you need to target. But if you're doing a range, you have your priority. So first you have to hit your walkers, then you have to hit your brutes, your abomination, or your wolf abomination. Then your runners, then your zombie wolves, then your necromancers. So although you could, you want to take these guys out before they get to them. If they're in spaces by themselves, they're definitely fine. Just take them out. Being that they summon separately, so you're not going to have to worry about them summoning out in the same space as something else. The fact is they can move multiple spots, they can get next to you, but if they get close to you, until you start doing melee attacks, you're going to have to worry about, targeting priority. Then we have the wolf abominations. We can definitely always use more abominations in the game. Just to swap in and out. So we have minimum damage to destroy 3, 5 experience points. Special rule, it is considered an abomination. Rolls inflicted by abominations can't be prevented by armored rolls. And 3 damage weapon or dragon fire is required to kill it. They also have 3 actions per game. Play the same way as the zombie wolves. Now you have an abomination that gets to move 3 times or attack 3 times. And being the fact that his attack Does 3 damage every time. Most survivors only have 3 health. So, yeah, these guys are, if they get next to you and you haven't killed them yet, they're probably going to take out entire groups of people all at once. So this does up the difficulty. Oh, the Guardian priority is right there. I didn't have to flip it all the way over. The next new thing is we have new tiles for towers. So let's take a look at those tiles first, and then we'll hop back into the rules for them. Move my boxes out of the way. So we have our first tile here. So you gotta show basically it's a set of stairs up into here. Now this is the full thing is a tower. So now you put this on your board. Now this is a tower around everything else. So the only way up or down from here, I believe, is to use the stairs. But we'll double check that when we get to the rule. So then here's one on the other side. It's a little bit smaller tower, so you have some streets with a little bit less space. Of course, they're going to have their dark areas as well for spawning stuff. Or dark areas to deal with for that. So there's tile 1, and then here's tile 2. A little bit different there. So we got corner space there, corner space, a little room over there. Well, it's still got them stairs. And again, the stairs are divided into 3 parts. And then we have that one is the same idea, just some clear spaces on there. So these are 2 new things. So you can add 2 extra tiles. So again, this is one of those things where I would love to why I would love to own duplicates of all the tiles, because you could have like a big giant map, like the biggest would be 9. Well, you could easily add like 12 or whatever, and then you could add these to like 4 corners and do different ones. That's just my thought. So, alright, what do tiles, these do first? I'm going to move my camera down just a little. I'm holding this up so high for everyone. Alright. Tile towers represent both buildings and street zones bordered like ramparts. See on the next page. Ramparts can't be crossed, but don't block line of sight and can be shot through. An actor in the tower zone can see over a building to zones beyond it. Likewise, any actors in one of those zones has line of sight to the actor over the tower. Survivors can shoot from the tower over a building zone. The building a zone is shot through counts towards the weapons or spell range, but has no line of sight to it. And line of sight can't be drawn between tower zones bordered with ramparts and building zones next to them. Alright, so let's take a look at the picture, and hopefully they'll explain that a little bit better. So it's going to show your 4 tiles there. So what's showing here is Carl is up on the top of this thing. So he has a line of sight down the stairs, as well as into the 2 different rooms. So he can see like 1 space in, then 1 space out of the room, and then 1 into the area, and then 1 into the next room. But he can also see off of this straight down the street. But he can't see. This is where it gets interesting, because you have to look at this as a 3D space. He can't see into this building, but he can see over the building to the street below it. Although, yes, you could argue that doesn't make a lot of sense. Even if this, building was half the height, he might not be able to see into that square, because you can't also see down that side of the building. You gotta have a little bit of leeway in there. But yeah, he can't see into the building, but he can see over the building to the next area. Then we have some more examples over here. So we have Theo here on the middle side. So he can't see into this building, but can see beyond it to the next street, but can't see into that building, of course. But from here, he can see down the street into this building, because it's not right next to it, because you can't look down, but you can't see one more. So this passage is open. The following classic line of sight. Theo's line of sight into the first building zone, but not into the next room. And then, of course, you can see down through the 2 parts of the tower. Can't see into this room, but neither one of these guys can see into these rooms. Even if the door is open, but they can see beyond it. So they have to skip any buildings that are directly next to it, but if they're Beyond that narrow space, they treat them as if like they were essentially standing in an open area. You can see like she can see 2 spaces down, but she can't see into this building. Yeah, so definitely. What also might have to depend if there's a solid wall in different areas and things like that as well. Cool. So that's basically how those work. And we have another quick page here. So it's just showing Theo again. So now you can see, his left to right in there. He can also see into the next building because it has an open door. But again, there's that space between it where it's showing on the bottom here. Morgan can't see into this spot because it's a building, but he can see out, but he can't see into this one. See into the street, but the walls block your line of sight to going any further because there's a wall here and there's not a door into that building. Yeah, so pretty good there. Then this has to deal with movement. So, like, although they can't see through this building, they can see each other. So the walker and Kyle blind to each other. But he has to go all the way around to get to the walker. Now remember, this also means that for Carl to get down, he's have to go down the stairs. So it kind of gives him a one pathway out of there. So once you go up them towers, you kind of get stuck. Alright, then the next thing we have is magical equipment. This is just some new Vault equipment the game has. You're going to have some different magical equipment. Magical equipment are cards represent every aspect, but feature a different danger level. So these weren't in Black Horde base set, but they did add them into the Green Horde base set as Vault weapons. Basically what they do is they're going to have the little notches on the top of them, and whatever colors they show or what level you have to be. So for the Axe of Carnage, you have to be an orange or a yellow. For the Great Flaming Sword, you can be yellow, orange, or red. In the Vampire Crossbow, the same. So if you're level blue, you can't use these weapons. So that's basically how magic weapons work. You have to be experienced to be able to use them. Now you can still carry them. You can still hold them in your inventory because when you hit that, then it's available. But that's all that is. Then there's Ultra Red mode, which went over a bazillion times. Basically, quick gist in case it wasn't for some reason mentioned in Black Plague, is once you hit past level red, you can go back to 0, re-earn experience points to earn your other orange and red skills, but you're still considered to be in red. And then we just hop into the quests. So all the quests are pretty much saying, like, they're going to have your thing, but they require Zombicide, Black Plague, and Wulfsburg. So you're going to require a base set to play these. At the time, Green Horde wasn't out. But you're going to get 10 extra quests. So it's a decent amount of extra quests that utilizes towers in various different ways. If that one has it in the center, you get one over on the side there. Like something like this is going to have one in each area with like vaults in them. So a bunch of different options. The only thing I don't think they mentioned in here for the towers is I think you can use the jump ability to get off of them. Yeah, it doesn't specify it in here, but I'm pretty sure if you have the jump keyword, you can jump down over the edge. And that's based on the fact that Zombicide, Undead or Alive, the Western one, has balconies, and they allow you to jump up and down the balconies. Which would be technically on the second floor. You could consider these towers like a 2-story building. Not necessarily guys are leaping all the way up in like one mighty leap, but maybe they're leaping up enough to climb and pull themselves up. Alright, so we looked at the tiles, we looked at that. So let's look at, just quickly, the zombie cards. And then the things, and look at the character cards. So we're going to have more zombie cards here. And they're going to start with number 55, and then they're going to have the little symbol on the top showing it's for the set, but very simple. Just red, you get more wolves than you do in blue. And it just goes on like that. And then it has 3 cards, and then it repeats. So it repeats twice, and then you have 2 copies of the Abomination. So if you want more or less, you can always take out half of the cards. Fairly simple there. Being that we are having a starting set of new characters, and we have 4 more boards, because we're going to get 4 more big plastic chunky boards here, which are going to be the same as the one in the base games, so nothing different about them. But then you're going to get the different colors, so you're going to get like a different blue, a blue-green, different green, a different red, and your 4 bases. So that's kind of nice. That's what I like about these extra sets, because if nothing else, it also gives people extra colors, which is kind of cool. We're going to get 4 new starting equipment. Is that way if you want to jump in and play your 10-player game, now you have extra equipment for these guys. We're going to get a Mana Blast, a combat starting equipment. It's also fun about this is because they're not the exact same ones, but then we get 2 short swords, and we get a short bow. So nothing too terribly crazy. Then all the rest of the equipment, which are the magic equipment, are just going to be the red backs. So they're going to match those decks. So they're not the Volk equipment. They're just going to be special magic equipment. And not all of them are. I shouldn't say not all of them are magic equipment. Not all of them have reduced difficulty requirements to use, like this one does, the Acts of Carnage. So it says, adding additional success on each melee action resolved with this weapon. Ooh, so that's pretty fun. And we have 2 bastard swords. Regular good sword, but not bad at all. We have 2 chain lightnings. If a combat roll 6, add +1 die. And you can dual wield. The Chaos Longbow. 4 more hits on a ranged action with this weapon. Dragon Fire in target zone. Oh, that is fun. So it starts with 4 to begin with, so if you hit with everything, you get to perform Dragon Fire. But now this would be a great one to, like, put on characters that let them add extra dice, because then they have a chance to hit more. And you could be unlocking Dragon Fire left and right, maybe. If you get lucky enough, that would be really cool. We also make sure you don't shoot that into a zone with your survivor buddies. We have the Deflecting Dagger. Add 1 die to another equipped melee weapon. Counts as a melee weapon and a shield. Armor rolls +4 or more, or reroll armor rolls once. That is a cool idea. That you can have a little bit weaker weapon, being a dagger, versus like maybe a big sword or battle axe, but it counts as a shield as well. We have 2 Disintegrates with a combat roll of 6, add +1 damage. Yeah, so actually getting that crit of 6 is pretty nice. We have the Dragon Fireblade. Discard this card to create a Dragon Fire at range 0 to 1. Ooh, that's fun. I stopped reading that dragon at first, and I got way too excited. I thought you could discard this card to create a dragon. And I'm like, ooh, how does that work? And I'm like, oh, Dragon Fire. Which is still definitely cool. Because in a pinch, if you really need that Dragon Fire to take care of a pile of wolves, or the Wolf Abomination, or any Abomination, or a Necromancer maybe, just be able to discard this and automatically create one without having to look for the water, or the bile, then look for a torch. Definitely kind of cool. Oh, this is a neat one. An enhancement for Ironclad Zombie Wolves. Once per turn, targeted survivor gains Ironclad Zombie Wolves skill until the end of round. Ironclad means they can't be hurt by that specific type, so this basically grants them an immunity to zombie wolves. Now, I'm assuming that only is just treated as the basic one and not the Abomination. But you could play that either direction. I only say that because they also separate, like, walkers and, abominations. So I would imagine the zombie wolf would be treated as an abomination. So if you had Ironclad Abomination, you could dodge him. But you could also count it as both, either one. We have the Earthquake Hammer. Roll a 6 +1 die and +1 damage. Ooh, that's nice. Plus, you only need to roll 3 to open a door. And it looks cool. Which is the most important part of having a weapon. The Flaming Greatsword. Action 1. Ignite Dragon Bile at range 1 to 0 Dragon Fire. Okay, so this is sweet. I surprised I didn't have a spell in here that let you do that in the base game. Feel like you basically shoot a fireball. If you hit Dragon Bile, it lets you set it on fire. So you only have so many Dragon Bile to begin with. Well, you kind of need if you had the option to ignite it. So this lets you do that. That's awesome. We have the Quicksilver Sword. Gain the Lucky skill. Lucky lets you reroll your dice if you would like to. But you have to reroll all of them. The Shield of Ages. Gain the Shove skill. Choose one armor 4 or reroll one. Rerolled armor rolls made with another equipped armor, then the result takes place of the previous one. Shove lets you target a group of zombies and push them to an adjacent tile as long as that tile is empty. So that can definitely be kind of cool. You can set someone just shoving a bunch of zombies back with the shield. And I don't know why I physically made that action when nobody can see me doing that. Storm Bow. Arrows on a roll of 6 plus 1 die. So there's a lot of stuff your magic gets. We have another enhancement. We have Transmutation. Once per turn, choose and discard an equipment card from the survivor's inventory. Then draw a new equipment card for them. They can reorganize their inventory for free. This is not a search action. The card is played as usual. Okay, so that's definitely cool too. Hey, I use my starting equipment. Discard one, draw a new card. Or I have 2 bows. I don't need 2 bows. Get rid of the bow. Cool. And then our last one is the Vampire Crossbow. The survivor heals 1 wound each time they kill a zombie with this weapon. Oh, that's cool. I don't know how that works. How shooting an arrow gets you health from an undead thing. But it's still definitely a neat idea. Alright. Let's look at... Oh, these guys are stuck in there. Let's take a look at our miniatures here. Alright, let's take a look at our wolves. So we're going to get 3 different sculpts. 7 of each. So I'll give you 21 different wolves. That's enough to do some of Sisterlings, kind of like doing a, leaping or lunging. They're all kind of the same. But, there's only so much you can do. This one's standing up a little bit more. But his ribs are exposed. So let me just kind of set him down. And our third one's doing more of a leap. Or even more of a lunge. His arms are kind of in there. So, let's see if I can get in here a little bit better. So those are 3 different models. You got one that's kind of, like, in the mix, his arms are up, one his arms are kind of going down, and one that's sort of like a mid-leap. Yeah, it would have been neat if they had one that was, like, maybe, like, almost standing on its legs, versus, like, maybe one that was, like, all 4 on its legs. I get that they were trying to show the motion, because they're essentially, like, runners, and runners are always kind of, like, leaning forward. But being that they don't have, like, a non-running version, it would have been kind of neat if they made them look a little bit more different. And then we have the big wolf abomination here. Whoop, 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 whoop. We dropped him. But yeah, he's mid-swipe. He's about to murder one guy with 1 swipe. Which is what he will do. Alright, now we got our 4 survivors, and that's what we'll end with. We're going to start with Morrigan. Alright, so where is Morrigan's thing? Alright. There's Morrigan, has a mask. It's some sort of dark elf. I like that they started adding some more of the races in there. definitely cool. Instead of just being humans, it's like, that's fantasy. Let's get everybody involved. Alright, what are our skills? We're going to start with Reaper Combat. So, Reaper is, I just want to make sure I remember this 100%. Yeah, so Reapers, whenever they kill something, they get to kill an additional one. So, since it's combat, it can be melee, ranged, or magic. But if Morrigan kills a walker, they get to kill a free walker in that group. If they roll for the turn and they kill 4 walkers in there, awesome. They still only get to kill 1 extra. It's, during 1 action. So, yeah, rolling high, not 1 per every kill. It's just 1 extra per action. But, hey, if there was 6 in there and you killed 4, and then you get to kill 1 extra and you killed 5, so that's 5, there's only 1 left, it's going to be a lot easier to make sure you kill that 1, Then yellow, 1 free action per normal. In orange, 1 free melee action or spellcaster. Spellcaster says the survivor has 1 extra free action. This action may only be used as a magic action or an enchantment action. So they're casting a combat spell or using an enchantment scroll. So it's kind of cool. So you went from Reaper Combat, so it's bonus for killing stuff. Then now, how do you want to utilize that? Do you want to have an extra free melee, or do you want to have this guy be a magic caster? And then if we hit red, we have +1 melee damage, or 1 die roll to magic, or Bloodlust Combat. So again, do you want to emphasize more on that melee, up on your magic, or do we want to do some Bloodlust? Which Bloodlust says, spend 1 action as survivor, may move up to 2 zones, containing at least 1 zombie, and gain 1 free combat action. So again, this could work with either direction you go. If you want to do spellcasting or melee, but it lets them get right next to it and do a free action. So again, how do you want to do it? Again, do you want to have bonus to one of your skills, or do you want to have an extra action? And then Morgan can, up on their body slot, can hold an extra dagger. Alright, then we have Ariane, maybe? She can hold a hand crossbow. She starts with jump, which we kind of talked about earlier. H-I-J. Jump. Survivors can use this skill once during each of their turns. Survivor spends 1 action to move 2 zones into which they have a line of sight. Movement-related skills, such as 1 zone per move or slippery, are ignored, but movement penalties like having zombies in the starting zone applies. But you can ignore everything in the intervening zones. So select her, basically hop over spaces to get around stuff, or she can hop over barricades, hop over like different, whatever's in her way, group of zombies. Also nice about it is, I'm pretty sure you can use it to hop down off of the towers we just talked about. So it's kind of neat. She can go up or down off them towers a lot quicker. So if she's sniping from up there, zombies start rushing up the stairs, she can hop back down and go the other direction. Her yellow is 1 action. Her her orange, +1 free move or +1 free melee. So yeah, this kind of works which way do you want to work with her. She's clearly supposed to be at least somewhat ranged. So you can give her that move, she can get around and do ranged actions more, or give her that melee in case she has to defend herself. And then when we hit red, +1 die for combat, +1 dice roll for ranged or spellcaster. So you kind of what do you need her to do? And then let's look at her miniature. So there's her little miniature there. That's a huge bow, like compared to her. But yeah, I love the braids are really cool in the back. The extra like I don't know what you call it, scarf or whatever, that red piece on her artwork over her regular cloak is really cool. Plus like the stitching on the legs. Definitely I love these miniatures. Sea Mine always knocks it out of the park. Alright. Then we got Carl. Good old Carl. Let's just look at his miniature right away. Yes, we have sword. He's got a little crossbow. He's carrying a wolf on his back, so he's not messing around with these wolves. I think in Black, Green Horde, I think there's also a character that has a wolf on him, so I'm like, that's kind of fun. Since they're now enemies in the game. He can hold a fireball if you had one. He has +1 die for magic, so he's gonna start off, hey, let me throw some magic around. Action +1. His orange 1 free combat action or spellcaster. So you can see everyone's had spellcaster, so you have lots of opportunities to use spellcasting to get an extra magic action. 1 free combat action, 1 max range, or marksman. Yeah, so basically 2 free combat actions to do whatever you need to do. Are not bad at all. I'm not really sure why that. I kind of guess why they have spellcaster separate from like 1 free range or 1 free melee, but it's weird to have 1 free combat action or spellcaster, because spellcaster says 1 free action can only be used for a magic or enchantment, but free combat action, because I bet you enchantments aren't considered combat. That would be why. Okay, so that would make more sense then. So they could do magic attack, meaning they can only cast a magic spell, but combat wouldn't include the enchantment spells. Okay, so okay, I get it. My brain had to think about it for a sec. Then we have Marksman. Survivor may truly freeze the target if all their magic and ranged actions misses don't hit survivors. So definitely good for being a ranged character, but definitely basically just magic. Throw them in there, have them an extra die for magic, give them spellcaster. Spellcaster if you're going to have them doing enchantments. If he's not, you just need regular magic attacks. Just give him the free combat action, so at least he has the opportunity to use as a melee or ranged. But then you can also do either marksman or +1 range, or the extra free combats, depending where you're standing at, what you need to do. Alright, then our last new survivor is Theo, and he uses a sword. So he's going to be like our melee. So we have a magic guy, we've had a ranged guy, we've had a dual class, and now we have probably just a melee guy. He's got a bow on the back too. Definitely cool. I love that they have the scarabs with lots of the swords. Because, it makes sense in this thing. They have scarabs for all their weapons, or have pouches to put their daggers, things like that. But if you look at like modern Zombicide, or if you're only carrying any amount of weapons, most of them don't have backpacks or anything to hold it. So that means they're always walking around holding a fire axe or holding their guns. They don't have holsters unless they were, some part of military or officer or something like that. So he has sprint, which lets him, once during the turn, he may spend 1 action to move either 2 or 3 zones instead of 1, but entering zombies ends his action, so he can get either right into combat or get the hell out of combat. 1 action, his orange is +1 die for melee, or +1 die roll for range, so he's going to get that extra range if he needs it. And then red is 1 free combat, charge, or marksman. And charge lets him double check all these. Survivor can use this skill as often as they please during each of their turns. They move up to 2 zones. Can use this skill for free as often as they please. Can move up to 2 zones. To zones contain at least 1 zombie. Normal movement still apply. So you can use sprint to already move an extra 2 to 3 spaces. Then you can also use charge if he gets the red and he picks that to move up to 2 zones, as long as it contains zombies, so he can clear the board fairly fast if he really needs to. He can always charge into a zone of zombies, and if he kills them all, he can charge to the next zone, and then if for some reason he can't, he could always, if he has enough actions left, or if he's not going to be able to take out a group, he has 1 action left and the area is clear, he could sprint and get, 3 spaces away, and then he doesn't have to worry about it. So that might be very good for taking out some of the wolves. You know, run in, try and take some with charge for free. Do like another extra action. Oh, killed the one there. There's some more right behind him. Charge back 3. It's not going to be able to get you. So definitely fun there. Alright, so that is what we have for Zombicide Wulfsburg. So this is that. Just like a kind of like a mini you know, extra player expansion. Some new tiles, some new zombies, you know, so if you're looking for a little extra add-on, it's definitely a cool thing to pick up for your games. Check out the other Zombicide videos and the other expansion packs. See you guys there. Bye.